Yo, 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 what's good, everybody? I hope you guys are all doing well. My name is Tank. This is the IBC Gang channel. Here we talk about everything that's happening in the traditional markets as well as the crypto markets with a specific interest on what's happening within the Cosmos ecosystem. Today, my friends, hopefully, we're going to be joined with a really good friend of mine from Archway. His name is Ethan Wood. Guys, you guys might not know, but I do. He's been in this space for a long, long time. He's partnered up with somebody that you might know a lot better, Eric Wiesen. Hopefully, Eric, I'm saying your name correctly, your last name correctly. I know he's very active, so you probably do know who he is from the Archway community. Guys, we're going to be jumping on into Astrovault today once our friend Ethan is able to join us. Hopefully, he doesn't have any issues connecting onto the platform. But yeah, I'm super, super excited to be talking about Astrovault. I know personally, because I've been really good friends with them for a while now, that this has been something that they've been working on for a long, long time, something that they've been passionately working on for a long, long time. So I'm super, super excited for them and really can't wait to actually dive into what's going on with them. Um, so yeah, before I go any further though, I do want to say, with all that being said, I do have channel sponsors that I have to pay homage to because without them, it gets a little difficult out there. So first and foremost, Kajira Network. Thank you guys for being a humble supporter of the IBC gang. Guys, they help us do what we do here, providing content to the greater Cosmos ecosystem. If you guys don't know about Kajira, you guys should definitely check them out. Kajira.network. Thank you guys over there at Kajira for being a sponsor of ours. And then also Cosmos Spaces. They're our preferred validator of choice. We have many validators to choose from in our ecosystem, but they give back to the people. And we have this thing where we always say, support the people who are supporting you. And they definitely do that. But I don't want to take the shine away from our friends. And I see Ethan just joined us. I'm going to get him on in just a second. I don't want to take away the importance, the shine, the attention from Astrovault and Ethan and what's going on with them. So let me bring them on in here, guys. Super excited. Oh, let's go.
Hey,
Ethan,
Tank,
what's
thanks
up,
for
my
having me
friend?
on. Appreciate you.
Yo, what's up? What's up, man? What's up? How's your day going?
Good. Sorry about the technical difficulties there. Had a little trouble connecting, but I am in here now.
Totally fine. Totally fine. I'm gonna crack open my look. Check this out. This mini monster, which I'm falling in love. I have an addiction, I think.
Me too. Me
Oh,
too. It's okay. We both got a monster.
but you got the big ones though. I used to drink
Right.
these big ones to way too much, and then I saw the small ones, which I'm sure if I actually looked at the information, it's like not that much better. But I like justify it by buying three of the small ones for the same price that would have bought like one of the big ones.
Right. Yeah,
It's
coffee's the
funny.
lifeblood of the crypto industry. I'm thoroughly convinced.
Is it not? Is it not?
Definitely.
Hey, Monster, we are not sponsored, but if you would like to sponsor the channel,
All right.
mm, mm, mm.
Should be sponsored, right?
For real, drink of the gods, right there, man. Right next to coffee, the drink of the gods. Um, Brother, I gave you an intro while we were waiting, and I'm super, super excited to touch base with you. It's been a long time, a long, long time, and I'm super excited to hear what you have to tell, not just me, but the community about Astrovault and what you and Eric have been doing, man.
100%. Yeah, I think it's been probably about 6 months since I was last on something like that. And we've just been quietly building in the background. We really wanted to get the product up, show what it was capable of, start to get some revenue figures under us and whatnot before we got too loud and obnoxious. We've been getting a lot more vocal on Twitter, obviously, as we've gone live, and we're showing that the model does work. One of the things we want to do is get that MVP out and really show people how this works in real time, rather than it just being based on like speculation or Eric and I's word that this works. Let's see it play out. So
yeah, talk. Everybody can talk good talk, but we got to see it, right? We got to see it.
Exactly. Let's see it. Let's see it playing in real time. It's one thing to say that this will make a bunch more money than Osmosis. It's another thing to actually put it live and see what it does. So. We've got it live to prove to people, hey, this is how things should be running. We do need more sustainable models. We need to have revenue on these projects. Any DEX that's running needs to be working on sequestering liquidity long term. They need to figure out how they're going to deal with the liquidity problem down the road as well, not just be thinking about tomorrow and the next APR. So that's something that we're doing. We're definitely trying to create a DEX that will last 5, 10, 15 years from now. We don't want something that's just going to go under in a year and damage the industry further. We've had way too many frustrations with with the way that DeFi has gone so far, and that's why Eric and I couldn't sit on the sidelines anymore.
Yeah, well, you guys know a little history recap, guys. I've been fans of this dynamic duel to steal it from Batman for a long time. Back when you guys were developing Hydro Finance in the Secret Network. Let's actually do that. Let's give everybody, if they don't know the journey thus far, if you don't mind kind of stepping back and kind of giving a brief recap, so anybody hopefully in the future too watching this not on the live stream will better understand what Astrovault is. Could you give us kind of like a brief history run through and also like where you guys have come from, how you guys met, and how this all developed?
Yeah, so Eric and I met probably a few years ago now, back in the secret community. We were both prominent secret community members, and we were involved with trying to fix Secret Swap, which was their homegrown DEX on Secret that was put up by Secret Labs, the main entity behind the network. So that DEX had been up for probably about 6 months to a year, somewhere in there when I came in. And Eric and I were both just community members that were very, very concerned about the state of the chain and wanted to get involved and make a difference rather than just FUD in Telegram channels, because, anybody can talk shit on Telegram. It's a whole other thing to put your money where your mouth is and to actually show up. So that's what we intended to do, and that's what we did, and we got involved and did what we could. Obviously, it didn't work out the greatest for us, unfortunately. Our hands were kind of tied. It was one of those things where we were kind of more of a title than the ability to actually make changes. Mm-hmm. So we dealt with a lot of frustration over that, and eventually had to cut ties with Secret Network and move on. We did that and have been working with Archway since, and have ideated and built Astrovault, which is the first LSD-based DEX with external revenue.
Man, super excited, and I'm super glad. Again, I just want to say personally, because you guys know I've been following for a long time, regardless of how frustrating it might have been, and I know we don't have to get into it. I know it's very frustrating sometimes. I'm glad for you guys. I'm super glad, because I feel like now you guys have partnered with not just a team, an environment that is going to allow you guys to really thrive, if you know what I mean.
100%. And Archway is like the place to be for builders right now. So what we do is really unique and interesting. The fact that we can make our own revenue streams as a DEX, but we have like at least 3 to 4 revenue streams just from Archway's native properties. So while we have a bunch of our own revenue streams and we have our own unique business model that stands alone virtually anywhere, we are more profitable on Archway. And I think pretty much anything that can be built will be built better on Archway.
Okay, fair enough. We shall see. I'm not very sad, but again, we have to see, right?
100%.
So a little bit, if people don't know, I live in the U.S., obviously, and so I'm going to be restricted into, unfortunately, showing things like I usually do on the platform. Hopefully, you have some material that you could share. I don't know if have you used Restream before, because you can share it just like any of these other platforms. You can share your screen or anything like that if you want. But yeah, so like if you don't mind, kind of walk us through the thought process, walk us through the concept, and share with us.
Yeah, 100%. So I don't know if it's going to cooperate with me to pull up a website while I'm talking to you with how hinky my connection's been today. But I will walk you through it. So basically, everybody's familiar with the traditional DEX AMM model, right? We all know, the basic AMM Uniswap. Pretty much everybody. If you're here on this channel, I assume you know Uniswap. So what we've done is we've taken the basic AMM model and we've added in another entire half. That's basically like if Curve and Uniswap had a baby. Okay. So that the core engine of our product is an X times Y equals K with a stable swap built in as a hybrid AMM. We took that, and then we wired in the infrastructure for all the various Cosmos L1 chains. So we're talking nodes, validators, relayers, all of the various infrastructure pieces needed to wire the Cosmos itself into our AMM. And what we're doing is we're actually earning from the liquidity that we host. So this money isn't just sitting on Astrovault like it is on Uniswap or other exchanges. It's actually earning revenue from the individual layer ones, helping to secure the chain, and also remaining liquid for users to use the exchange at the same time.
Man, okay. I'm a smooth brain. Run it back. How is that possible? Tell me again how that is possible. How are you guys able to actually make it liquid but
Yep.
available at the same time.
Yeah, so all of our liquidity is in our native liquid staking derivatives we call X derivatives, and our liquidity is all hosted. All of our base pairs are hosted in those X derivative pairings, and we have our own proprietary plasma pools, which are our one-to-one stable swap pools that enable the initial asset, the like Arch, Atom, Jackal, whatever it may be, to trade one-to-one with its derivative pairing. So unlike Quicksilver and a lot of those other solutions, those will always continually trade about 5 to 7% under the value of the underlying asset. There will always be a big difference in the floor there. You won't see that with our derivatives. They will trade one-to-one.
Interesting. I remember when you guys first gave me and a few others the privilege of reading your guys' white paper. I'm not going to lie. It was very lengthy, very confusing.
Yeah.
And I was like, what?
It's got a lot of math, but we wanted to have it laid out in the black and white so that if somebody did want to go through this and look at all the math and see how this plays out, they can actually run the numbers. You know, we're very black and white people.
Do you still have that white paper available that you could share maybe in the link or whatnot?
And it is on our website. If you go to astrovault.io, I believe down there in the footer, there should be a link to our white paper. You might have to click the little 3 dots or 3 lines at the bottom there.
I always get, okay, share with everybody real quick. This is what I was saying earlier. Hold on one second. Let me...
Unfortunately, my
in the States
today. I think you can get there quickly by going to astrovault.io/white paper. That's the quickest way to get there.
Okay, because I just lied to your disclaimer here, and I said I was okay with it.
You're all good. Yeah, you can get there by reaching it at the footer, but you can also just type in astrovault.io/white paper, and that'll take you there.
Okay, wait, hold on. Actually, I totally just lied on stream. Darn it, I'm gonna get flagged. Oh look, I can. Okay, I'm honestly, guys, whatever. We'll find out what happens. Maybe I'll do this with everything else later on too. I'll just roll the dice. But I've been so hesitant being geo-locked in here because I'm trying to be a good little, retail person that like whenever the warning comes up, I'm like, well, just never mind. I back out. Like I don't.
Yeah. So we're live. We've been live for 2 weeks now. We've got $1 million in liquidity. Just hit that threshold here within the last 24 hours. Super excited about that. Hitting on Twitter pretty heavily today. This is a good preview of the UI here. There's kind of our pools, the APRs, the TVL for each pool. We have, for instance, Atom, X Atom, like I was talking about, Arch, X Arch. Those are our native and derivative pairings. And like I said, each one of those pools will be single-sided earning opportunities that you could provide, Arch, for instance, without risk of impermanent loss in those pools. Obviously, the traditional pools, like the X times Y equals K pools, are standard pools. Those still have the risk of impermanent loss, but our stable one-to-one plasma pools do not. No risk of impermanent loss.
It's just so hard for me to believe that.
Well, they're single-sided liquidity provisions, so it's not like you're dealing. Normally, the reason that impermanent loss happens is the value of the underlying assets is fluctuating in relation to each other, right?
Gotcha. Yeah.
You don't have that in this pool because they're 1-to-1.
1-to-1, right? Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yes, I just haven't had enough Monster Energy drink just yet. But by the way, Eric, what are you talking about, Eric? Coffee is not bad. What? It's great.
He's drunk. Don't listen to him.
It's only 3 o'clock or 2:45. He's already. By the way, I'm just going to put this out there. I see Joe and a few others here.
Yep.
I see Cam as well. Open invitation. If you don't mind, if any of you guys would like to jump in on the stream, I love to do these. I love to have just more than myself. I know I kind of get irritated with my own voice, and sometimes I feel like I don't think of the best questions sometimes, and so. If anybody wants to jump in, shoot me a DM. Let me know. With your permission, Ethan, I'll go ahead and send you guys over the link, and you guys can jump on in on the stream.
100%.
But yeah, I really, I'm frustrated, and I'm super, super happy. One, because I can't participate. You see me doing this. Watch.
Well, the main thing is we want to make sure that we're staying compliant with regulators and that we're keeping our eyes on the moves in Washington and elsewhere as well. It's not just Washington. Obviously, there are regulators worldwide, and we want to pay attention to that, and we want to be compliant as best as we possibly can.
Gotcha.
We don't want to create a bunch of invasive methods that make it hard to use, make you accept like 6 different boxes and sign 3 different things to the chain, but we do want to make sure that we're complying with the regulators there.
Yeah. No. That's totally fine. I get it. Hey, it's just me, little American, kind of complaining or whatnot. No, but
Right.
I'm super like. Regardless, I think that this is really good for the general Cosmos ecosystem. I think it's going to have major effects ripple through our ecosystem, and so I'm super happy for you guys and everybody else that's available or able to actually participate in this platform as well. What were we saying here, Joe? Let me catch up with chat. Right, question I have is stable swap implies that there's a stable coin involved. Can we clear up the confusion for newcomers?
Yeah, so not our own native stablecoin. It's possible that the treasury could be used like far in the future to launch something like that, but there aren't plans for it at this time. As far as other stablecoins, so like ISK, USDT, USDC, all of those things work wonderfully in our one-to-one pool. So, for instance, they will also trade one-to-one similarly like our X derivatives, where you could swap USDC and USDT interchangeably. Without having to mess with a bunch of slippage or whatever else.
Nice, Joe. Does that answer? Pretty sure it does, but
I think so.
Let me see if what else I can.
Maybe
click
I've
on
had
here.
too much coffee. Shit.
I know. I'm trying to catch up to your level. You had the big can.
Right.
Let me see if. Oh, nice. Okay, I can go into the trade and see. I love the general like layout of this.
We wanted to keep things fairly business professional. I think we're in a space that's really occupied with a lot of like 2D animal graphics and things like that. And if you want large industry players to come in here and participate in DeFi, we have to kind of provide a landing space that doesn't look like a 13-year-old's video game. Right.
Yeah, like okay, I'm not gonna take a shot at Osmosis, but I'm gonna take a little bit of a shot at Osmosis. Stop it already.
I don't
Like
think they're
it's
the worst, honestly, to be
no,
fair.
they're not. They're not. They're just for the Cosmos. That's the example or whatnot. But like there's becomes a point where it's like, all right, like some people get at me all the time. It's probably because I'm old and gray and I have like a boomer mentality or whatever. But I love
Right.
this because it's clean, it's very professional. It flows, it's got great colors. I'm all about that. I really do agree with you. If we really want serious players to come in and participate, we need to be taking ourselves seriously. And that starts with the basic stuff as far as like what we're presenting. So I love that you're taking it seriously even on that front as well.
Absolutely.
Kim says I've tweeted numerous times about Osmosis adding toggle for vanilla on our professional. Yep. Well, I should retweet that. I don't know why I haven't seen it. Let me actually see. Can I play around a little bit more?
Yeah, you probably can do a few things without having your wallet connected.
Yeah, I mean,
you might be able to adjust the tokens and such. Oh, it's not letting you. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you have to connect your wallet.
Yeah, I figured I would have to connect my wallet, but this is awesome. I wish I wasn't such a scaredy cat earlier to actually have been able to peek around at this earlier and been prepared for it, because now I'm kind of exploring on the stream. Let me see. Oh,
well, it's a funny world that we live in, man. I helped ideate this product. I helped write the white paper, but I myself can't legally use it. So.
Yeah, wait. How is that? Wait, yeah, hold on.
Yeah,
Eric,
I mean, it's just the way it is, man. You want to work in the industry, you got to make some sacrifices. So, yep.
I'm actually just thinking of the complex you guys must both have.
Well, it's a pain in the butt, man. And we do everything very carefully. Like I said, our focus is making sure that we're maintaining compliance with those regulators and that we're keeping things above board, because it's far too easy to get targeted in this space, and we don't have time for that.
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the team, because obviously you guys actually have to have team members that are available to
100%.
use this across. Like, what does the team look like? What's that?
Yeah, so we're an international team. Our CTO is in the UK. Obviously, Eric is here in the US. Me and Eric, and then our CTO is in the UK, and our lead contract dev is in Portugal. So we're a very small team, 4 guys, kind of like Apple back in the day in the garage. 4 guys in the garage. That's kind of where we are, except for we're in 4 different collective garages across the world.
Yeah, 2 of the guys in the garages can't even look at the stuff. It's so funny.
Right. Well, hey, I mean, we can view it on the business logic side, and we can push the needle forward that way. So, and then we have our CTO handling those things, and the lead contract dev as well that manages things, and they're both international citizens. So,
okay,
yeah, that's how we handle things and within the framework. yeah, it's been a wild ride, absolutely, and I'm sure things will continue to be wilder as the market kind of deals with the backlash of what it's enabled. So we let a bunch of dog money and all kinds of different little things come in here and get multi-million-dollar market caps, and the bill's coming due.
Yeah, I see. Okay, I'm looking. I'm looking right now. Let me share this again. I'm just looking at the pools. Maybe watering people's mouths. I know I'm
So yeah,
getting a little frustrating because some of my mouth is watering as well with my appetite. And I'm like, the Atom pool versus X Atom is a TVL of 530,000. Let me see here. What's the highest? Is that going to be the highest pool?
I think so now.
Okay.
Yep, we just got a big boost to that earlier. So definitely stoked about that.
Ooh, Arch Jackal. Okay. I'm supposed to be speaking with the Jackal team next week. I'm super excited about that as
They
well.
are absolutely amazing. As far as projects flying under the radar with an absolutely amazing model, I think Jackal is like top of the list. I cannot believe that they have not blown up yet.
Yeah. Super excited to talk to
wild.
them about stuff. Kim says probably worth explaining the incentive for providing liquidity on Astrovault LP. Yeah, that's what I was going to get out, Kim. Is when I'm looking at this. So explain to us the incentives.
Yeah, so currently our APRs are 0, and that'll be that way until the token launches. Obviously, you have to have a token to provide an APR. So we, like I said previously, we wanted to prove that the business model does work, that this product does actually create the revenue that we're talking about, and prove that to everyone first and foremost. And then we'll be launching our token shortly. Should be within the next month or two, probably somewhere in there. Don't quote me on that, but yeah, somewhere in that ballpark. And once our token launches, we'll be airdropping to the early users of the platform. That'll be the traders and obviously, first and foremost, the LPs. Anybody who LPs will be getting a sizable airdrop, and it'll be weighted more towards the LPs than the traders, but you will still be able to get some exposure through trading. Our goal there really is just to provide incentives to the people who actually have an interest in using and becoming a part of the DAO. The people that actually want to contribute to the platform and want to be around long term. We want those people to be incentivized and those people to be drawn in and those people to get rewarded. And we don't want to just print a bunch of free money and throw it out all over the place because free money, yay.
Yeah,
That doesn't make a lot of business sense in our opinion. That's just our perspective on things. We try to do things as sustainable and as economically sound as possible. And we think it's best to, like I said, prove things first and then, then provide the retroactive rewards there.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I saw that Kim while I was looking at it. I can go TVL. I love it, and I agree. The UI is sick, and they definitely nailed dark mode for sure.
Yeah, we're going to be adding a light mode eventually.
Don't even do it. Don't even do it.
Yeah, right. There'll always be those people that want it. So we want to provide as much functionality as possible. Obviously, and one thing worth mentioning is that this is not the full product. What you see here today is literally just our MVP, our minimum viable product.
Right.
That's what we wanted to get out to market. Like I said, just to prove everything that works and is functional before we really bring out the bells and whistles. So
what is the next? Well, don't give me all of them because I'm sure there might be many. But like once it is out and going, and which I do want to talk about that. What is the next bell or whistle that might be introduced?
Yeah, so we're going to be adding our time flux pools soon. Those will be a new type of pool that will allow us to do some really cool stuff with some of the auto compounding staking derivative solutions like liquid staking over at Liquid Finance and Quicksilver. Some of those guys, we can work with those guys with our new pool type as well as Bitcoin and Ethereum and assets that we don't have price discovery for. So according to Eric, it will trade at a better rate than on Coinbase or Binance.
Where is Eric? Eric, why aren't you? How? Tell me how.
Yeah, right. So yeah, those are kind of well under wraps right now. We'll be launching a whole paper on those to break that out for people and kind of showcase how they work, and they'll have a whole rollout. So it's kind of some alpha here today. That's the first thing that we're doing. Additionally, we'll also be doing NFT integration. So we'll be integrating NFTs into the platform and making partnerships with different NFT collections. So we can actually equip, the project was built from scratch. And when it was built from scratch, we enabled the functionality for NFTs to be equipped to our liquidity pools.
Bro.
It's already in there. It's just not enabled at this time, but we will be enabling that at some point in the future. And you'll be able to equip an NFT from a partnered set and earn a boosted APR on any of our pools. And that also enables us to do some really cool things. We'll be having some partnerships and projects with with different businesses, actual real world businesses surrounding that. There's some really cool things that can be done in DeFi with NFTs specifically, and with real world businesses. People don't think about how this translates into the real world, how this matters to companies like, like Target or, the restaurant down the street even. So one of the things that we're going to do is we're going to be partnering with NFT projects to set up loyalty programs, for instance. Like you go to a restaurant, you purchase a loyalty program and you get, a discount on your meals or a free meal every month or whatever. Those programs all exist. We're all familiar with them. The thing that can be done with Web3 is that you can make them NFT based, and you can make those NFTs a container for liquidity, and you can make that process lucrative.
Bro, tell me, Joe, Eric, Ethan, are you guys sponsoring and coming to NFT Nashville? This is exactly the conversation.
100%.
Oh,
100%.
Yes.
100%.
Yes. My day has gone so well today.
I just caught wind of that probably a couple weeks back, and we're very excited about NFT Nashville.
Super happy. That's my Chris Farley.
Fire.
That's my happy dance for Chris Farley. You guys,
but yeah, we have a partnership with a restaurant set up in place for that already, and we'll be rolling that out in the future. That's some very hard alpha. So anybody
nice.
Crypto Tank, you're getting the line in here.
Man, because Joe says Tank Quantum Club. I've been in the office all day. I saw all of the Telegram just going off and off and off, and I can't check it. But oh my gosh, you guys are killing it. My day is so good today. So good today. I was excited just to get to talk to you. And like I saw it going off. I was like, what are they doing? Man.
Right.
Dude. Awesome sauce. Okay, well, cool. Well, okay. So I'm sitting here listening to you. And I've already been super, super bullish. I'm trying to think of a way for me to get exposure, for me to get my hands on the token once the token is out there. Obviously, I'm going to have to probably get it somehow through another DEX, like permission, like somebody listing it on Osmosis or something like that, right? That's the only way that I'm probably going to be able to get my hands on it. Or somebody help me out. How am I going to be able to do this?
I mean, theoretically, legally, you could do it through a foreign entity. I'm saying.
I can take a trip to Mexico any day, actually.
You're a savvy businessman. Come on.
Yeah, I can figure this out.
I mean, foreign companies and all that.
I'm going to have to make a large purchase somewhere when I'm visiting someplace.
But I'm not advocating any U.S. person obviously participate in DeFi or taking Astrovault. Our tokens will not be marketed to U.S. persons, blah, blah, blah.
Disclaimer.
Disclaimer, yeah. Not financial.
Frontier. Yeah, Joe, that's what I've been on it, but I'm being very honest. Like, and again, I'm not telling anybody they bend the rules or break the rules or whatever. You guys do, you figure it out, whatever, and take any action on your own risk. What was that?
Oh, comply with your own legislation, your own jurisdiction.
Yes,
that may be
100%. But like my immediate thoughts is like Frontier, like, or someplace that's gonna be that's permission going to be able to. Somebody's going to do it. I already know it. Look, I'm looking at you guys. Somebody's going to do. You guys better freaking do it. But yeah, okay, cool. And then I just gotta say this because it's been staring at me dead in the face. Your beard is it's masterful. I thought I was growing a pretty good beard, but like I got a bunch of grays. That's all I got compared to your beard, man. I'm just so jealous right now.
I would be double as long, unfortunately. I had a shaving accident about a year or two ago. Yeah, so my wife borrowed my buzzers and didn't replace the head. So I looked down and half my beard was on my chest and I screamed like a little girl. And that was the end of my first beard. This is beard number dos. So
yeah, it's been, I guess has it been that long? Because when we talked a long time ago, you didn't have that.
The first time I killed it. So the first time that happened, it was down about chest level. So
Stephanie says it's my fault.
It'd probably be down to my belly button by now.
Joe says, but you can easily do an OTC trade with somebody we know in the EU. That's true. Peer-to-peer transaction. Isn't that what crypto is all about?
There's a great spot for peer-to-peer transactions. Just a quick plug on Archway. If you're not familiar with PeerSwap, our good friends over there at PeerSwap have set up an OTC marketplace platform right there on Archway.
PeerSwap. Okay, let me check this out. Oh gosh,
And
that
this is the
was the
thing,
wrong thing.
Archway is coming up fast, man. There's all kinds of stuff developing on Archway right now. I think a lot of stuff hasn't even gone public. Like it's not even available frontward facing anywhere yet. But they have an insane amount of stuff building and developing out. I think it's amazing what happens when you align those incentives towards the developers. You know, that's one thing that we both have in common. They were very focused on realigning those incentives to gear towards developers, and we're very focused on realigning incentives to gear towards the participants of the platform, i.e.,
Well, yeah, and see, one of the things, again, I'm a little biased because I just know you guys, and I know the person that both of you guys are, and specifically talking about you and Eric. And like, when Archway was first getting pitched to me, and it sounds great, like incentivize developers and all this stuff, but like everybody's a little jaded because we've already, like, you've seen
understandably
people.
so.
Yeah, we've seen developers get incentivized in multiple different ways, whether it's like directly through the protocols or like indirectly through actions and stuff like that. But
Mhm.
very little has, and this, I know some people might come up with pitchforks, but like the person or the people, the users very rarely get actually focused back on. And
Mhm.
like when you kind of align teams such as yourselves that are focused on bringing that back to the user, like that's very powerful.
Well,
It's rare too.
it's wild that it is rare, though. I mean, we're in a space that has proliferated the DAO ethos. Okay, like I'd never even heard of a DAO before crypto, and yet, it's revolutionary to actually think about your token holders. Like what?
Yeah, yeah. To think if you if you invest back in to the people that are using your platform, is a what, like, it's crazy to me, like that
Well,
nobody's thought like, oh, maybe this is a way to for longevity, instead of
what
trying
that
to
has
take
to
as
do
much as
with
we possibly can quickly.
how they get money. You know, how do they get their money? They raise a bunch of money from VCs on the back, and then all of it's geared towards equity and whatever else, and they don't really have any incentive to do anything besides dump the token. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? If all their money comes from VCs and the token is how they how they liquidate it, it doesn't really create an incentive long term to create a community based off of that. A lot of it's
So
based off of like hold, and it'll be good someday.
right, right. When you were saying earlier when we first started off, and I may have just forgotten and smoothed over my brain again, but like when you said you were putting that money, that value capture to work, could you explain that to me? Like, what are you guys doing? What are you guys wanting to do when you say that?
Yeah, so we want to create the financial infrastructure of the future. That's what we're really trying to do. Is we're trying to create, like I said, a DEX that lasts the next 5 to 10 years. We want something that won't be farmed to death by the sell pressure of its own inflation. And that's the problem that we're seeing, throughout the space. Even larger exchanges, have not fared well in the bear market,
Hmm.
and that's only going to continue to get worse, I think, for a time. And that has to do with the overinflation of these valuations. And the question that we need to be asking ourselves collectively about all of the projects that we're looking at, all of the things that we're interested in, is where is their revenue? Where does it come from? How does this make money?
Right.
Those basic questions that are commonplace in normal business finance meetings, but for some reason fall off once you start talking about all this fancy magical internet money technology. It's great technology, but we need to shore up the economic side of things.
Right. Okay. So, uh, maybe I was just listening. So, when you say putting that money to use, what are you guys doing? Again, like
Oh yeah, so we're basically retroactively solving the problem of liquidity for the various layer one chains. So all these layer one chains have incentivized node operation, right?
Mhm.
They've all set up, so it's all proof of stake, so that it's validators that earn incentives from the layer ones through the inflationary rewards, right?
Mhm.
Okay, so we've got all these validators running throughout the cosmos, and all these L1s also have the expense of liquidity. Every single one of them has to get their liquidity on an exchange somewhere, and it's extremely expensive to do that. All of their incentives are going to the node operators, but they have this continual perpetual expense that is their liquidity on these exchanges. So we retroactively solve that for them, basically. We set up all this infrastructure, and we wire the infrastructure to feed their liquidity on chain. all of the rewards and inflation that would be going to people who would otherwise be selling it is getting locked up in these smart contracts, is perpetually feeding liquidity for these layer ones. So it's building a nest egg of liquidity for the layer ones free of charge. And it's doing so perpetually based off of their own inflation and quantifiably lowering the sell pressure on their token, because I don't think there's a token around that has inflation that isn't being sold at all.
Right. It's like, this is really interesting because our friend Rama, you're sure you know who Rama is, posted this earlier. Was it today?
Really good.
Yeah, he's spot on guy, right? And it was a conservative view of the current app chain monthly cost, right? And like,
God, it's out of control.
What was that?
It's out of control. What it costs to run an app chain is absolutely insane. And that's why we really need to be thinking about the architecture of all this. Like there's a reason that layer twos exist. We get caught up on these little edgy things at the moment, like the fat protocol thesis and all these little things that long-term don't make a lot of sense.
Yeah. And then he breaks it down. And I'm glad, again, you guys, I know
this is wonderful here, this tweet here.
It is. Is this the first time you've seen it?
Yeah, I hadn't seen this before, but this is absolutely wonderful. Yeah, Eric has done a bunch of economic analysis just like this, discussing how much it costs to actually run a chain, and the yearly projected cost of that is fairly high, especially if you're a startup. We're 100% self-funded. So we didn't have a bunch of VC backing to begin with. We just came into this 4 guys with a dream and passion in our hearts and a willingness to not let go of the bone, right?
I so wish I don't want to say this because we were just talking about this on a space, how cringy it sounds when people say I wish I could have gotten in on a funding round, but I so wish I could have gotten in a funding round on this.
Hey, I would have done. I mean, yeah. So we're, like I said, we're entirely self-funded up until this point. We're not pumped up by a bunch of VCs at the current time. Yeah. And we don't have a token even, so there's nothing to even buy. It's really just getting involved in the platform, showing interest in the DAO, and providing LP.
That is true. I didn't miss out on anything. But yeah, so like when you look at Brahma's tweet, and I won't go through all of this, but he kind of basically breaks down like what you have to actually be bringing in as far as revenue for it to even to make sense, right? Yep. And so like when you're explaining, your guys' thought process with Astrovault and what you guys are doing, like it's just so refreshing that you guys are thinking about these kind of problems and issues on the forefront instead of like trying to catch it later when it's already past the station, right? Like it's really reassuring. So let's actually go through the numbers. I know they're going to be kind of small because you guys just launched, but so far, what have you guys captured to date as far as the platform?
Yeah. So we have about $6,000 of protocol earned liquidity. Mm-hmm. That is liquidity that was earned directly from that L1 inflation and trade fees that I was talking about. And we have about let me get it open here. We have about $6,000 total that we made in 2 weeks' time. We just got up to about $1 million worth of $1 million worth of liquidity. And we have a nice basket of assets. We've got Jackal, we've got Atom, we've got Arch, a little bit of Axel, good basket of assets starting the treasury off, and it will build over time. So perpetually, as long as this protocol is live from here on until the servers shut down, it'll be running and it will be making money.
Right.
As long as there is information on these chains.
When I see here, and I'm assuming on Mintscan, this is, excuse me, I had to burp there, guys. Little ASMR. When you guys do have everything up and running, like there's going to be their own validator lineup and all this. Like, what are you looking in, as far as that goes? Like, is there, like what's the grander picture in your mind for what that's going to look like?
Yeah, so eventually we will have obviously we'll have validators on every layer 1 chain that will be visible, and all of our derivatives will feed those validators. So in the future, you will see the AXV DAO as a prominent player in every single Cosmos chain.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to read Eric's 750-ish in buyback burn, 7,000 Arch dev rewards. Wow, okay. And no worries, Funky. Cool. Just appreciate you guys being here. Man,
I'm just 3.6K in Arch and about 1.2 in Jackal. Yeah, we've had a good start of things, and like I said, it only snowballs from there. Right now, we have very low liquidity. It's very early days. We don't even have a token out yet.
Yeah.
So it's as early as possible, and it's still more profitable than virtually all of our competitors. If 6K earned liquidity in a couple weeks is the bare minimum here, it really makes you stop and question what's going on with these products that are currently on the market.
Yeah, that's really concerning.
It is.
6K,
and it should be.
And you're beating out majority, if not like 99% of your competitors. Yeah. Who's the 1%? Who's the
There maybe I'm just allowing for edge cases. I'm not aware of anybody else that's even pushing protocol earned liquidity, but we're in a very, very, very wide space across many, many, many chains, and I don't want to speak out of turn. If there is somebody way out in the boonies that I'm not familiar with, it's possible. But yeah, for the most part, anybody. I'm not aware of any strong competitor that has any similar numbers.
Yeah,
there are people with treasuries and things like that, but usually it's based off of bonds, things like that. It's not actually earned from outside sources. It's usually taken from users in the forms of fees, trade fees, different things like that. And we wanted to do some things differently. We didn't want to take all of our revenue from the pockets of the people trying to use us. That doesn't really make sense for a DAO. DAO shouldn't be extractive from their users. It should be something that that it empowers its users based off of the power that's present from the collective, right?
Right. Okay. Yeah. Right. Funky says Cousin Show just pointed it out to me months ago. Yeah. Man, this is I can't help it. Like, I'm so thankful that you guys have brought this finally up to speed. I know it's not all the way out just and deployed just yet, but it's damn near there.
It's running. You can trade on it. You can LP on it. We'll have the token out, like I said, shortly. It's not currently out, but yeah, we're definitely live and we're definitely running and we're definitely earning revenue.
And you said like within a month is the time frame for the token, or
a couple months? Like I said, loose. Don't quote me on that.
Yeah.
Just a vague approximation, but yeah.
Is there something that you guys might be as far as like concerns going until that does happen? Like what might actually hold that up?
I don't think much. Primarily, we're just trying to get everything squared away before we launch fully with the token. We just want to make sure that the platform's up and running, that we've proved both to potential investors and to the market at large that this does work and that this is viable and that this is the way that we should be doing things. Because our goal long-term is to take this model to other people as well. We're actually going to be launching an SDK that enables every other project to launch their own derivative set to earn from their own hosted liquidity. So that's kind of the next step of this, is that we take this model out to everyone else. Like we proved it. Once we prove it fully for ourselves, we get our token live and all of that, get some of our bells and whistles moving. We want to make sure that we take this model out to the rest of the cosmos, because we've got a whole lot of projects that retroactively need this problem solved. They need to be earning from their hosted liquidity, because if there's all this revenue laying around, why leave it on the table, right?
Yeah, so why just leave it sitting there, not doing anything?
We're going to open up that capability for everyone else, and then that's our real long-term goal, is to be the spot where it's all liquidated.
Nice. But by the way, thank you, Funky. I had this somewhere deep in my computer somewhere, but thank you for sharing that white paper. We're actually looking at part of the white paper here. Admittingly, guys, it's a bit of a brain buster. It's long. It's very mathy, as you guys can see here. But it's super interesting, and I definitely encourage you guys to take a look. I dropped the link in the chat there for anybody that's watching. Definitely take a look at what they got going on in the white paper, because it's not just a little bit, it's a whole bunch of meat on the bone here.
Yeah. We made it as dense as possible. Like I said, we wanted it to be virtually irrefutable. Here is the math. Argue with numbers. Because we knew that our message was not going to be received well. We knew that people were not going to want to hear that what's being done is not sustainable. All the projects that you're invested in are likely going down. It's very doom and gloom message. Okay. So rather than focusing on all of that, we wanted to really focus and hone in on the math of all of this. Why is it this way? What is going on here? How does this play out? And that's what we did with the auto compounding derivatives. Unfortunately, that's the current narrative, is that auto compounding derivatives are the greatest things in sliced bread. And you can have your stake and you can earn from it too, and yada yada yada. But if it constantly trades at about 5 to 7% its underlying value, then it's not very useful to me, or I would think to anybody trying to do that large scale.
Right. Yeah. Especially when you try to, especially maybe like the smaller, like on a smaller scale, yeah, you could justify. But if you tried to come in here with a big bag on a larger scale or stuff like that, like
Yeah.
no, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, Funky. I actually had to do this like 3 or 4 times. So if you did it twice, like you got it before
Yeah.
me. That's for
And
sure.
we do break out the math between the auto compounding and non auto compounding derivatives. And basically, what it boils down to at the end of the day is that over 100% of the assets would have to be staked to the chain
Uh-huh.
in order for auto compounding derivatives to make sense. And since that is literally impossible,
Yeah, like that.
yeah, they're not going to work long term. And people just haven't gotten to the end game of that yet. We proved it in our white paper about a year ago. But people haven't gotten to the end game of that. And once everybody's jumping ship like drowning rats, then all of a sudden we're going to look like geniuses. But until then, it'll be one of those things that sits on the fringes and a few people know about, and we'll be there to say, I told you so.
Could you, I know this is kind of hard because I definitely, you don't want to come out and start poking anybody or anything like that. But like, why do you think people just, do you think it's just because people are greedy and they want to, like, they don't care about math, or like, because it
No.
makes so much sense to me when I first talked to you guys back in hydro finance, and you guys like, be honest with you, that's when I like the door started opening for me, and I started thinking a lot broader about like what was being presented to me, because I think like that was back when like osmosis was still striding, right? Like it was still in its, it was still going, like you said, dog coins were getting incentivized and everything was just like it was the heyday, right?
Right.
Do you think it was just because people don't care when times are like that, and like they don't care about long-term sustainability, or like?
I think the average consumer cares about one thing, and that's number go up.
Short-term gains.
Yes. And so a lot of people have thought about ways that they can make a quick number go up, or at least sell people on the idea that the number will go up, right? Unfortunately, there are mechanics to these things, and the only way that the number can go up indefinitely is if everybody only buys. Okay.
Right.
So there has to be something. You can look at it this way: if there's inflation, that's downward pressure, and there has to be something to counteract that inflation. Now, if that's the users buying the token, then great. But odds are most of these Web3 platforms are producing, they're producing every block or a certain amount a day, and they're obviously producing more than is being bought. And that's going to be the case virtually indefinitely. So we have to start thinking about how we can realign these incentives, how we can make them sustainable. And a lot of that comes, the way that we handle these problems over at Astrovault is providing that counter-inflationary pressure. We're actually we've altered our smart contracts so that they automatically buy back and burn the AXV token, for instance. Not something that we're doing manually or anything like that for regulatory concerns, but we have to think about these things. How does this function? How does it work? And how does this play out economically? And it can't just be sell pressure. You have to capitalize on the value that you create. So as an exchange, one of the values that we create is obviously the ability to transact assets. So we wanted to make an exchange that really makes sense for the token holders and that capitalizes on that feature.
Right. Okay. Let me actually, let's talk about the token, right? Because, and I'm just going to keep going back, and I promise you guys, I'm not just poking at osmosis and stuff like that. It's just a really good example because everybody knows.
Everybody knows it. It's fair.
Yeah. So like the Osmo token, great. But one of the biggest problems is like, one, the distribution, two, like it wears many hats. It serves many functions. When your guys' token comes out, is it also going to be used similarly to how we've been used to tokens acting? Like, is it going to be the governance token, the incentive token, and whatnot? Like, explain the token.
It will be the governance token, and it will be in the incentive token. The difference between us and other projects like us is that you'll be able to take your AXV and you'll be able to stake it for the native layer 1. That's something that's right off the bat different. You'll be able to earn Atom with your AXV, and additionally, on top of that, you'll be able to vote on Atom governance proposals with your AXV stake as well. Wow. So we're relaying the governance power from the various L1s from our liquidity to the token holders. That's something that's very, very different about Astrovault versus other DAOs, is that we actually hold the governance power in the layer 1s and we relay that to our DAO. So it's kind of like DAOception, but I think it creates some really interesting mechanics for the future, especially as we start climbing the ranks of those various chains. license, like you were talking about earlier, getting on that validator set, getting pushed up the ladder, I think it's pretty much an inevitability that we will be at the top of those lists on every chain.
Right.
Because again, it just sequesters liquidity perpetually, and all of that liquidity goes into that infrastructure.
Eric says, ask him about governance. All right, I'm asking him about governance.
Yeah, that's what we're on now. So, yeah, 100%. It's definitely unique, not something that I've seen and done anywhere else before. But really cool. And like I said, I think it opens up a lot of avenues for other DAOs to participate in the AXV DAO and vice versa, which is great for growth and collaboration. I mean, the more people that get involved, the more people we can support, and the better crypto gets.
Yeah, I think I'm right there with you, Funky. When he said DAOception, I was like, did he just coin a new phrase that I'm going to use all the damn time now?
Yeah.
Like there's so many things.
Future, man. There's going to be a lot of DAOs, and I think that there are going to be a lot of DAOs that are involved in other DAOs. Yeah. So like, think, we'll probably get involved in the various DAOs on the chains that we exist on and operate on. And I would expect a lot of people will get involved in our DAO.
I got to find a way. Whether it's a DAOception. Everybody got DAOception. I'm telling you guys, I'm gonna hashtag. That's the next tag. That's the next thing that's gonna get tweeted out. I keep saying tweet. Is it like, is it an X out? What do I say now?
You know what I mean? But an X out is when you close the window.
Exactly.
So,
like I don't
like what. You know what I mean? Like, what the hell? Like, and I don't understand what they're doing with that.
I'm one of those people who's like, you can't change it on me because now
I think it's a publicity stunt. If you ask me, I think they're just going to say, oh yeah, by the way, it's Twitter again here in like 2 months. Now that they've got us talking about Twitter for 3 months straight.
Just joking.
That's what it's going to be. Is they've just made themselves the forefront of the news and everybody's topic of conversation for 3 months, so that you completely forget about anything else, and then they'll be like, oh yeah, by the way, we're still Twitter.
We're still Twitter. Yeah. No, yeah, dude, guys, I'm just sitting here trying to figure out, again, US users, do you? I'm just trying to figure out how to get more involved as a US user, man. This is so good. This is groundbreaking. This is innovating. This is everything that I've been wanting from our space and more. And it's so frustrating because I'm sitting here in Tennessee.
Yeah. Well, so we want to be able to provide that for the industry. Like I said, indefinitely. We want to be the future of what happens with DeFi. We want to prove that DeFi can be sustainable and that it can be professional and that it can be compliant. So it is a pain. I'm aware. But it's something that we have to do to provide that longevity and that sustainability that we're talking about. I mean, if we get ourselves regulated under the floor here in about a year, that doesn't help anyone, right? It's a pain now. We're hoping that U.S. figures it out and that our laws change a bit and that our regulations loosen up. I'm going to bet that they're going to tighten down before they loosen up, but we'll see. I'll hedge my bets on that. But we kind of have to work within the limitations that are available.
No, and that's smart. Again, I just keep saying that. I'll be honest with you. If I have to ever put down an official statement, I guess I can say it right now. Like, I appreciate regulations and I accept them for what they are. And I agree with you. I do think things for U.S. citizens are going to get a lot more tighter, as you put it, before they do loosen up. But I do think inevitably, once they do figure out the framework of regulation, it will somewhat loosen up in some regards. But it just is what it is. When that happens, we'll see what we have to play with, and we'll just go from there. With that being said, though, do you think? And I've kind of already drawn my own conclusions as far as this next question. And I'll just say it now. I don't think anybody will be able to kind of mimic this, but like, do you think as this proves itself over the months to come, as far as like the theory and the concept actually working, do you see your competitors pivoting and now the narrative, instead of being like, no, this is not going to work and all this other stuff, do you see them copying you or trying to copy?
Yes, eventually. So that's the thing. First, it's going to be an uphill battle where everybody's going to be like, no, those guys are crazy. They don't know what they're talking about, blah, blah, blah. They're untested, unproven, that will go on for a while. And then our liquidity will build up to a certain point where they can't ignore it anymore. And then all of a sudden it'll be like, oh, hey, by the way, we've all got protocol and liquidity, with the Cosmos.
What do you think it's going to be, liquidity, or do you think it's going to be the revenue that you guys, like the actual revenue that platform generates?
Both things are important. I think you have to have the protocol and liquidity to have a long-term strategy for viability, because you can't be Tiny Tim with your hand out forever. You can't just, please, sir, may I have some liquidity like that? What kind of business plan is that?
Right.
There has to be something long-term in place, and protocol earn liquidity or own liquidity is the best solution to that. But also, if you're going to run a business, there has to be revenue.
Right.
And so I think both of those things are crucial, and they're obviously going to become part of the narrative of Cosmos. It's just a matter of time, and it just depends on where that threshold is individually for each project as to whether or not they dive in when they dive in.
Yeah, and I gotta agree, Stephanie. I gotta say, like, imitation is the highest form of flat. But and I think the problem is, especially in the Cosmos ecosystem, is the narrative socially for the users. It's just not good, right? Like, even if you were to pivot now, I'm just gonna say this, like, to anybody who has protocols or DApps or maybe a DEX or AMM that you guys offer, it's kind of too late. Like, right? Like, if you try now,
It's
the
never too late. It's never too
well,
late. So
but it's not. But and it's never too late to start showing genuine concern to start giving back to the users instead of taking from the users. But when
right,
you have people, and this is just me. This is not Ethan or Eric or anything. But I'm
right.
going to say this: when you have people who originally thought about the people, when the people look at the options after you try to pivot and do the same thing, it's going to be easy to go back to the people who are genuine from the start versus the people who
Flip flopped. Yeah.
yeah.
That's fair. One thing I will say, though, is that it is our goal to get them towards more sustainable business models. We want to be a catalyst for all of that because it doesn't do us any good if we have a treasury full of Cosmos assets and none of them have fixed their economics.
Right.
In fact, that's a really bad
That's
situation
fair.
for us
That's
if we have a treasury full of assets that don't retain their value. So we have a great incentive to help out the projects that we work with, to help out every single project that lists on our exchange. Our goal is not to extract from you because we make what we make off of the infrastructure and off of our model. We don't have to take out of your pocket because we grow the pie.
Yeah, I can see that's fair. That's super fair, and I get that too. A lot of things that because it resonates a lot with me. Like, as a content, I hate using that term, as a content creator. A lot of things, like, I try to lead by example, and I hope that change happens from that example that's being put forth. And you guys are doing the same exact thing, so I could see that, and I agree with you. It's never too late to pivot and to make those efforts to the people. And hopefully it sticks.
Well,
But
and to your asset, I mean, to the token, if you want that token to stick around long term and to be valuable in the future, you have to start taking care of it. You can't just do something that you throw out perpetually to people like T-shirts at a game. It's wild how tokens get passed out in the current climate. I think that's going to change. I think we're going to see more sustainable inflation models. I think we're going to see a lot of things shift towards a more professional, more grown up format as we head into the next 5-10 years. But it is going to take some work, and it is going to take some struggle, and it is going to be something that we're at the forefront of. So I'm hoping that all of these people do change their models, that they do look at their revenue, and that they do start thinking outside the box. We've got all this wonderful, unique technological infrastructure that's been built that we're all ranting and raving out. Why are we not putting it to its full use?
It's a good question. It's a question I've been asking for a long time as well. Yeah.
I mean, we're all familiar with staking rewards. Everybody's familiar with staking rewards at this point. So why is it that only individual users are capitalizing on that? Why aren't DAOs using other products like Osmosis or like Astrovault or whoever to diversify their treasury? Like almost all these layer ones that are paying out in their own native asset for different projects and different things, and everybody's liquidating that asset to pay for their expenses. Well, what if you didn't have to liquidate your own asset?
Yeah.
At USDC, and then you don't have to provide sell pressure on your asset in order to fund something. That's the kind of thing that Astrovault enables without risk to your treasury. So it's a really cool innovation. I think it will become very popular in the future. Not to toot my own horn or whatever, we'll see. But yeah, I think people will try and copy the model. I hope they do. But we will also have a strong first movers advantage on that front. I think our snowball will be so far downhill at that point that good luck catching us.
I think that's a more elegant way to say the same thing I was basically trying to say. You guys are going to have a strong first mover advantage, and it is going to be very hard for anybody to try to catch up to that. That's exactly what I was trying to say earlier. Guys, this is just making me. I have to incorporate the Beneki DAO somewhere offshores so that we can make a strong investment into this when we do get the tokens out there. For the sake of keeping this to about an hour, because I usually ramble quite a bit, and I know people's time is precious. Let's wrap it up here soon. But before we do, is there anything that we may have missed that you want to convey to the people that's watching?
Definitely follow us on our socials. I don't think we talked about that at all. Hop on our Twitter and follow us there. We also have a Telegram, which is t.me/axvdex. Join us over there on Telegram, and we also have a Discord. You can find the links to all of our socials at the bottom of astrovault.io, right there in the footer, if you can't remember any of those names and titles that I just rattled off. So right there at the bottom should be a little Twitter or X icon, and Telegram and Discord. Be sure to join our socials and stay plugged in. We'll be having a lot of news coming out over the next couple weeks. Like I said, it's only going to get crazier from here. This is the earliest day as possible, so really excited for what's to come.
I'm super. I'm also very, very excited to have you guys at NFT Nashville. Are you coming as well?
Yes, I'll definitely be there. My wife and I will both be there.
Right on. Have you guys ever been to Nashville, Tennessee?
I have not. I have been down south, but never to Nashville.
It's a great place. Super excited, man. We have a very strong lineup that it's just like it's gone crazy, man. I'm so excited to get everybody involved and to talk about what you guys are doing, what NFTs are going to be doing in this space, and foremost. But yeah, I'm super excited to hear that news. Guys, like you said, definitely. I'm sorry about that earlier. I was trying to drop your guys' Twitter handle, but I dropped the Archway, which I guess is still good.
It's okay. Hey, both are valuable. You can find us on Archways. They tweet about us all the time. So
yeah.
If you follow Archway, you'll see us.
Yeah. Guys, drop them a follow. Hit them up if you guys are definitely outside of the US. I mean, not financial advice, but I definitely suggest you guys dive into it a bit more. I'm going to find a way to get my hands on some tokens for sure. Period. I don't care if I have to incorporate somewhere else or if I have to go take a trip somewhere so that my IP is okay. Like, it's going to happen. I'm super excited for you guys. Thank you for your time, Ethan. I want to do this as many times as possible leading up to everything fully being out there. So if you're up for it, man, I'd like to do some more spaces with you and Eric. Anytime you guys are
on here too. Yeah, get both of us on here. That'd be great.
Yeah. Maybe we can drag in Joe. Drag in Joe. Too much caffeine. Drag in Joe. And yeah, we can kind of just like hit it off and shoot the breeze. But thank you, Ethan. I really do appreciate it. Yeah, I'm gonna cut it out there.
Thanks for having me, Tank. Appreciate you.
Right on. See you later, man.
Take care.